What's going on, guys, and welcome to another Doctor Who Classic Review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the third Doctor Jon Pertwee story, Day of the Daleks. This is the first story of Season 9, which is Jon Pertwee's third season as the third Doctor. And yeah, it's also his first Dalek story of 3, so yeah, I haven't actually seen this one before. I was quite interested to see what it was like. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. This is Day of the Daleks by Louis Marks. On Earth in the 22nd century, Daleks have enslaved the planet and humans live in fear of their masters. Meanwhile, back in the 20th century, a peace conference is urgently needed to prevent World War III. When reports reach units of a ghost at Orderly House, the site for the conference, the Doctor and Jo decide to investigate. Danger is waiting for them there, including a trip 200 years into the future without the TARDIS. So that's the back of the DVD there, quite an interesting little thing going on. So yeah, the first Dalek story for the third Doctor. This is the first time the Daleks, it's a return for the Daleks, because supposedly an evil of the Daleks, which was the second Doctor story back in Season 4, Season 5, I think. That was supposed to be the final story for the Daleks, but they inevitably did bring them back because they were such a big thing for the show. I mean, arguably the biggest thing in the show, aside from the Doctor, the TARDIS, and the Companion. So they brought them back, and yeah, this was the first time they'd be seen again after that supposed kind of finishing off of the Daleks. Anyway, let's get started with this one, starting off with the cast. We'll start off with Jon Pertwee as the third Doctor. Yeah, he's very, very good in this one. Not a whole lot to say, to be honest. Nothing amazingly stand-out-ish about this one. He's got quite a lot of good moments at the start when he's in the TARDIS trying to fix the TARDIS. It's kind of a thing throughout the whole of, or most of Jon Pertwee's run, especially the first 3 seasons, where he's trying to fix his TARDIS to make it go again. So that's funny. We get a bit of that in a lot of the episodes, to be honest, from what I've seen from his first 3 seasons. That does happen again here. I thought that was interesting. He of course doesn't get it going again. He won't get it going until the 3 Doctors, the first story of the next season, where he doesn't fix it, the Time Lords fix it for him. But yeah, it's always fun just seeing him, messing around and trying to do stuff. And there's obviously that moment where where the Doctor and Jo see themselves from the future, but we'll talk about that in a minute anyway. But yeah, all in all, the third Doctor's good in this one. He has a few good moments with the Daleks, a couple of good moments with the Daleks. Actually, not as much stuff with the Daleks as I would have liked. There really was only 1 or 2 scenes really towards the end of the story where the Doctor actually confronts with the Daleks. We don't see much with him and the Daleks at all, which is a bit of a disappointment, to be honest. But yeah, all in all, he does a good job here with what he's got. We then have Katie Manning as Jo Grant, who's pretty good in this story. She's a companion that I usually really like, and on the most part, I do like her in this. I mean, Katie Manning is a great actress. She plays the part perfectly. I do think that her character was, a bit too stupid in this episode. Jo Grant's kind of known as not being the smartest companion. She does ask some pretty stupid questions sometimes. She's just kind of known for that sort of thing. But in this episode especially, I thought she did come off a little bit more silly than usual. Believing the controller, when she got teleported into the 22nd century, she started believing the controller and what he was telling them. I mean, fair enough, she didn't know what the Daleks were or anything, but, even when the Doctor says, is saying that this controller, he's lying, the Daleks are evil, they're just going to try and overrule you. Not Katie Manning, that's the actress. Jo tries to basically go against the Doctor in the moment. I just thought it was really strange and didn't make much sense to me. So yeah, I think some of her decisions in that were a bit weird. But all in all though, with the rest of the stuff, yeah, she's really, really good. Same goes for Nicholas Courtney as Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. He actually doesn't get a whole lot to do in this story. The whole unit thing is kind of a bit more side story sort of thing. It's not the main focus really. There's a whole episode and a bit where they don't even really appear, or at least the Brigadier doesn't. But yeah, for what he's got, he's good. Alright, so let's get on to the good and the bad, starting off with the good. The Doctor and Jo seeing each other, seeing another version of themselves. Yeah, like I said before, that was a funny moment where the Doctor's trying to fix the TARDIS, and all of a sudden the Doctor and Jo appear, another version of them. They start talking to each other and it's a bit strange. We don't really get a whole lot of context from what I understand of what that was, and it doesn't really develop over the story. There's a brief thing, because when they're talking about, this whole thing started off with you know, a supposed ghost coming for one of the politician guys. I can't remember what his name was. Was it that Reginald Styles guy? Looking at the names now, I think it was. But yeah, and he kind of says it was a ghost, and you know, the Doctor says, "Oh, we kind of saw ghosts, remember, Joe?" And you know, reflecting back to that moment. But apart from that, I didn't really see what context that had. In all honesty, I mean, maybe it was a whole thing of they went to the 22nd century and this is the 20th century, and for some reason these two things are merging. I don't really know, but yeah, it was a nice moment, but it didn't really, I thought, serve a massive purpose. The Doctor and Joe staying at the haunted house, I thought that was really interesting. Well, not necessarily a haunted house, but they said it was a haunted house. Basically, the house where, you know, everything was going down that eventually blew up as well. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting moment, just having them in the house. The Doctor had some funny stuff there when he was like drinking wine and stuff. I thought that was interesting, and when he was eating those biscuits, "Oh, you've got to try this cheese. It is amazing." Yeah, just some funny moments, and you could tell as well that Joe was a little bit skittish now and again, a little bit scared. So yeah, altogether that whole kind of haunted house section in the first part was enjoyable. The Doctor using Venusian Aikido, always a good thing. He uses it against the guerrilla soldiers, and he also uses it against, I believe he uses it against the Ogrons as well a bit later on. So yeah, it's always good seeing the Doctor do the Aikido. It's just, I love it when it returns in, you know, newer episodes, but this was of course initially a third Doctor thing, and it's just awesome seeing Jon Pertwee flip around and just flip people, and you know, he's violent, but it's not like it's more of a defensive thing, and I just really like those moments. I thought they were really good. That's what I mentioned before, but the Doctor always talking about vintage wine. I thought that was funny. You know, you had the moment where they were in Audrey House and he had the wine. He's like, "Oh, this is some really nice vintage wine." And then when they were in the 22nd century, he also got given some wine there, and I think it got like spilled or something, or he threw it on the floor. And he said, "Oh, I'm disappointed. That was some vintage wine." He's just always going on about vintage wine, and there's something that just Jon Pertwee, in his kind of James Bond-esque sort of look about him, just drinking a glass of wine, it just really suits him, and it just with his accent as well, the way he talks, it just suits him so well. And I just think, you know, it just feels like the third Doctor, and I really like that. The Doctor and Joe evading the Ogrons on a motor tricycle, that was an interesting moment. Of course, Jon Pertwee's kind of era of the show known for being very James Bond-esque, like I said before, with the car chases and stuff like that. And yeah, there was literally like a motor tricycle, or motor tricycle, I don't know what you want to call it, chase in this one, where the Doctor and Joe are on the kind of three-wheeled bike and the Ogrons are chasing them. It looked a bit silly, but it was also kind of funny, and yeah, I liked it. I can't, what can I say? The Doctor and Joe on a little bike, with kind of cavemen-like people behind them chasing them really slowly. Yeah, I like stuff like that. The gorillas turn out to be the good guys. I thought that was interesting. You know, we kind of start this one off with the gorilla soldiers kind of come in, and you know, they come in, they want to, I think they initially want to actually kill the Reginald, but they doesn't really end up happening in the end. Because it turns out that one of those gorillas is kind of trying to change stuff, and it gets a bit confusing. But in the end, it turns out that they're actually kind of the good guys. It's the controller and the Daleks that are the bad guys, who are against the gorillas. So I thought that was interesting, you know, because I mean, it starts off with them pretty much capturing the Doctor and Joe, but then kind of turns on its head and ends up working with the Doctor. So I thought that was quite an interesting little twist there, and the way that played out. And I also thought all the actors and the actress, especially the actress, actually the main actress for the gorillas, were very good in their roles. And then finally, for the good stuff, the possible start of World War III, just generally an interesting concept. We've had this a few times in Classic and New Who, you know, the possibility of a third world war. And yeah, it was done quite well here. That whole aspect of it was very much put to the side. I mean, until kind of the end, it was very much just a side thing, but it did all end up connecting in the end, and I thought it was done relatively well. Alright, so let's just go on to the bad. This is the one thing that most people are probably going to be talking about, and that is the Dalek voices. this story is known for having pretty bad Dalek voices. Now, on the DVD release, there's the original version, which is the version that I watched, with the original effects, the original Dalek voices, and then there's also the special edition version. On subsequent viewings, I'll probably watch the special edition, but for the initial review, I always like to watch, if I can, the original version, so that's what I did this time. When the Daleks first came on screen, I didn't like them. That kind of Goldie Dalek was talking all like this, one syllable at a time, and I hate it when the Daleks do that. It's a thing that I've seen in quite a lot of 60s Dalek stories actually. The Daleks talk one syllable at a time and it just sounds really stupid. But after that, they kind of started talking normally, especially the yellow one. It was really just that first scene where they just sounded crap. Apart from that though, I thought they sounded okay. I do think that the Black Dalek, one of the Black Daleks, really only one of them does any talking, that one kind of sounded a bit bored. The way it was talking, it was just kind of like this, and I'm a Dalek and I don't really want to be here, can I just go home and have some cheese and crackers now? He sounded a bit bored. The yellow one was a bit more screamy and a bit more like a Dalek, a gold one I suppose, so I preferred that one. But yeah, the black one did sound a little bit bored, I will be honest, but generally I didn't think the Dalek voices were as bad as I was expecting. Jo comes off as a bit stupid, believing the controller and not the Doctor. Like I said before, yeah, I don't think Jo's done to her best in this story. That's for sure, in my opinion. And then finally, the end happens way too quick and easy. It literally just, they force the Daleks, they kind of let the Daleks into the building, get everyone else out. That guy detonates the building and the building explodes, and the Daleks are all dead. And it just kind of happens way too quickly. Yeah, I thought that was just such a quick ending, just like literally blows up, and within 20 seconds of the building blowing up, the Doctor kind of says a couple of things, and then the titles, then the closing credits come up. Yeah, really rushed in my opinion. Alright, so a rating for Day of the Daleks. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was a good story, that's for sure. It was a little bit slow in places. I thought part 1 was decent. It kind of built up things relatively well. We didn't really see the Daleks till the end, and you know, with the title being Day of the Daleks, we knew they were going to be in it, so yeah, maybe that build up wasn't the best, but I still thought it was decent. And yeah, I think in the middle it did kind of slow down a bit, and towards the end it did kind of ramp up a bit, but then the end itself was really, really rushed, and there were a few things like Jo and the Daleks' voices being a bit off here and there that do put it down. So yeah, a 7.5 out of 10. I personally don't like it quite as much as Planet of the Daleks, which is the other Jon Pertwee Dalek story I've seen. I've still got Death to the Daleks to watch, but yeah, out of the two that I've seen, I do think I slightly prefer Planet of the Daleks, which I don't know, is that the minority? Am I in the minority with that? I've got no idea, but yeah, a 7.5 out of 10 for Day of the Daleks. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe. Go down to the description, follow me on Twitter, that would be awesome, and I'll see you guys in the next video.